It is week 3 of PFR and Lakeshore PBS. Tonight we look back at week 2 of the high school football season and preview tomorrow night. We'll have some players of the week. We'll update Wayne's percentage and a check mark as well. All that coming up tonight.
Hey, you know what they say now. This is week 3. You've got the games in week 1 and week 2. They've been played. Now you start to progress a little bit, and maybe the cream, goes to the top a little bit at this time.
Although I felt like there was more turnovers in week 2 than there was in week 1.
Well, Maryville fell in that way too.
Yeah. All right, we'll have all that and much more coming up next on PFR.
From the perfect flip to the perfect pass, we power Northern Indiana, so you can do what moves you.
All righty, we're back on PFR on Lakeshore PBS, and we're ready to come back and look at our PFR Rewind. Week 2, a lot of turnovers, a lot of plays, a lot of good plays. Not really any huge upsets, but I thought the play in week 2 was sloppier than week 1, really.
Yeah, certainly Portage and Lowell was a game I didn't pick.
Oh, you look like Portage definitely improved from week 1 to week 2. They played some very good football. We'll see how they do again this week. All right, let's check out PFR Rewind. All righty, there's our PFR Rewind for week 2 of the high school football season. And let's segue into some players of the week. We'll start with some offensive players of the week. Wayne, there were some candidates getting the job done.
Yeah, Ryan Walsh certainly was one of those for Andrean. 5 TDs versus Hanover Central, 328 yards. Wow.
Yep, we'll start with some offensive players of the week.
Ryan Walsh, what a great job he did the first week, or this
328,
week.
Yeah.
Wow. 5 TDs against Hanover Central, and yet this game went back and forth until.
And Zach Warchus, what a huge week, huge game he had for Portage as well.
Yeah, I mean, he really stepped up in his second week, and 381 yards and 4 TDs versus Lowell.
Chris Mullen will be under the gun this week when he takes on Michigan City, and Boone Grove out of the gate looking like a well-oiled machine.
Jake Mierski, we talked about him on the radio last week. This is some young man that was a wide receiver, defensive back. They lost Dylan Paul at Boone Grove for his graduation. He stepped up with 3 TDs at quarterback over River Forest.
Valpo's defense has been outstanding for 2 weeks in a row, and really good against Griffith.
Boy, they really were.
Chesterton doing a great job as well.
Yep, that's right. Total 91 total yards against Munster. And Josh Fedorchik from Valparaiso had a 53-yard interception versus Griffith.
Yeah, Valpo's had to replace the linebackers this year, and seems like through a couple games, even though they had the big injury last week, through 2 games they've done that. Gavin Latiker of Maryville had a pick against Hobart. How about some special teams players of the week?
Well, this guy last week was a special team player, and it looks like it might be the Shepherd category here. 5 for 5 for extra point attempts.
All right, the most coveted award. How about some unknown players of the week?
Well, not many people knew Paris Hewlett before Cordell Prather got injured. But boy, did he step up! 158 and 2 TDs.
Yes, he did. Looking very good, leading Morton to that win over Lake Central. He's got another big game this week against Lowell. Matthew Walters at Crown Point.
Boy, our correspondent at Crown Point really liked this guy. He was praising him on the radio all night long. And 3 TDs, he played very well against Highland.
And Luke Patterson of Valpo getting the job done.
Right, 2 TDs versus Griffith.
All right, time for the polls this week. Let's check out this week's Little Five.
You got it.
All right, there you see
That's right.
the Bombers 2-0.
That's right, 2-0. They had a good one last week. They ended up 40-15 over North Newton. I was surprised with that one. Knox is playing very well.
Yeah, Ritzler's got Western this week, who's a good conference team.
That's a tough one.
Knox is doing real well as well.
Whiting got hammered last week by Evansville Mater Dei. That's right.
Yes. Calumet's got a big one this week against Wheeler, right?
They have a big game. They lost this week, but they played Mount Carmel in Illinois, so that's not fair.
That was a large step up in competition.
A large one. And then Hanover Central played Andrean fairly well, but still.
Yeah, very competitive against Andrean, an offensive shootout. And let's see if Hanover can continue to play some good football. They should be getting some help back defensively. We think in a week or two. All right, how about the top 10 this week in high school football?
Boone moving up there. They're 2-0 and playing very well. The 59ers have a tough one this week against New Prairie, and this is going to be at New Prairie. Crown Point, played much better in week 2, and Lowell didn't. That's that kind of dichotomy there. One week you play really well, and another you don't. And
I'm starting to think Boone might be for real.
I agree.
They got Andrean in there in 2A, right? You might see them down the road.
Yeah.
That might turn out to be a great football game. That could be the what is it going to be? The Ryan Walsh Bowl?
Yeah, that's right. The Ryan Walsh Bowl and the who is it? Brayton Van.
Yeah.
Wow, that'll be.
Well, no, remember Walsh was at Boone Grove. We found
that's right.
Before he transferred to Andrean.
That's right.
So
there's not much animosity there.
No. Sure.
Chesterton comes in number 5, and they're 2-0. They have a big game this week. And Michigan City,
lost a close one.
1-point loss on a field goal.
And they'll be playing Chesterton.
And
not looking ahead to Valpo.
No, they better not be. You got New Prairie 62-7 over Clay, but Clay's not that good, but still. Maryville did they had 8 turnovers, but they still stopped Hobart. Hobart didn't score, shut them out.
Maryville's got to try to find some consistency.
Yes.
We talked about it last Friday night. Maryville has beaten Crown Point 3 years in a row in the regular season. Maryville has lost to Crown Point 3 years in a row in the sectional. So if they beat Crown Point tomorrow night, that really doesn't mean anything because they'll also might have to beat them down.
Yes, that's right. Doesn't Maryville have those gloves that have that sticky stuff on them so they don't, cough up the ball?
I don't know if those are legal anymore. But it's been a good start, solid start for Maryville. They got to put that game behind them.
Yep.
be sound. The quarterbacks were outstanding the first week, and they just got to get back to having some good consistency. And I think head and shoulders the number one team in Northwest Indiana.
Right. And they can't be looking ahead to next week. Michigan City comes in, and that'll be a huge game next week for Valparaiso. They can't be looking ahead, you know, and forget about this week.
You really won't have to look far for the game of the week next week, I don't think. All right. Don't forget, tune in. 89.1 FM Lakeshore. 6 o'clock to 10 or 6 to 10:30.
Right, game night, 6 to 10:30 on the radio, and then we simulcast on the radio,
PFR
and you can
scoreboard.
pick up this show at 10:30 live.
Yeah, so tune in to Wayne, Tommy, a cast of thousands from across Northwest Indiana reporting on most of the tilts, all the games. So I think that's a way to, when you're driving around in the car wanting to know how your team's doing, 89.1 FM, the Lakeshore. All right, time for another edition of Throwback Thursday. We're going back to 2007. One of the great Northwest Indiana rivalries, Griffith and Andrean. Here's Derek Height with a laser throw down the middle of Brian Gallagher for a completion. Jeff Sutter with a rainmaker to Jonathan Bryanez for a completion for the Niners. Dimitri Blanco, remember him?
Oh, yes.
With a kick return for 80 yards and a touchdown. I think Dimitri played a little quarterback too, didn't he?
Yep, he did.
All right. Griffith quarterback sneak off the fake. Derek Height for the touchdown. Tie game. Panthers trying to get it down there late and score late. Scoring right here. Derek Height for another touchdown.
There's a nice fake. Throws the defense back a little bit.
Into the corner
catch.
for the touchdown.
Beautiful catch.
Austin Suter sets up another great TD by Branez, tying the ball game. And then Andrean scores the extra point, which is good. Game goes into overtime where Andrean gets the 1-point victory, scoring the extra point to win the game. All right, there's our Throwback Thursday from 2007. We're going to take a timeout and come right back on PFR.
On the TV, radio, and Facebook, Lakeshore is your one-stop shop for everything prep football. Coverage starts Friday night at 6 p.m. on 89.1 FM with Lakeshore Game Night and concludes at 10:30 p.m. on Lakeshore PBS with PFR Scoreboard. Or catch it all live on Facebook at Lakeshore Prep Sports. Tune in Friday nights for insights and highlights, all on Lakeshore.
Don't forget Facebook.com/Lakeshore Prep Sports. We're having a lot of folks talking a little football on there on our Facebook page, voting for what extra games should be shown on or shot on Friday nights for scoreboard. Right. So the fans are doing a great job interacting here for PFR and PFR scoreboard on Lakeshore PBS. All right, our game of the week, Lowell and Morton. A lot of adjectives to describe it, but one you would not have come up with until you watch T-Dub out analyzing the Lowell-Morton game.
Despite losing their starting quarterback during week 1, the Governors and a strong defense shut down Lake Central last week and now prepare for a Friday night matchup with Lowell. How's Credale doing right now, and how long will he be out?
He's doing okay, best he can, and he's just trying to do all the right things to mend up. We're looking at 4 weeks and then a reevaluation of how things are looking at that point.
How big was last week's W for your program?
It was huge. You know, we left the Highland game feeling actually kind of good for everything that happened to us. Not only Credel's injury, but we were facing some cramps that game, and so you know, going into the week, we just knew, hey, we got to step it up. We got enough dudes to make this happen.
You got dudes, and one of those dudes behind center got it done for you.
Yeah, Paris stepped up. You know, really came through for us and played a clean game and made some big plays happen.
I know there were two quarterbacks that were up to replace your starter. What did he show you in practice that made you think, hey, this is the guy I'm going to run with?
Really, it was in the game. You know, we just saw the lights weren't too bright for him, and he had a couple of electric runs in the Highland game, and we knew with a week of practice and a little bit bigger of a playbook for him to work with, he'd be okay.
That big game coming up Friday against Lowell, that's got to be a checkpoint for you, correct?
Yeah, I mean, you know, our kids, you know, their target is low, and, you know, historically that's been a good rivalry, you know, back in the 2000s there, but, you know, we haven't beat Lowell since 2014, and so this is a big measuring stick for us.
How's your offensive and defensive lines been? Because if you're going to take out Lowell, you got to have those guys in the trenches get it done.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the game from last week, you know, we were able to pretty much dominate up front, one of the biggest schools in the state. So, you know, we feel like those guys can play with anybody. It's just going to be a matter of being assignment sound and getting the job done.
After playing two Duneland Conference teams to begin the season, Lowell now prepares for yet another tough matchup against Morton, hoping for a return of the offense they had during their season-opening win over Crown Point. And, Coach, 2 straight games against Duneland Conference teams. One went well, last week not so well. When you add them both together, what are your thoughts on this football team?
Well, it's like we told them, you know, the kids, it's all about dealing with adversity, like you mentioned earlier. You know, 2 weeks ago we came out, we had some confidence, and we built on it. Last week we had some adversity, and we lost that confidence, and we played catch-up from the get-go. And that's the inexperienced team has to learn that. And the good thing is we saw our kids and how they can play, so they don't have an excuse now. So that helps us coach a little bit and set the tone for this tough week we got coming up.
Are you concerned about your defense going into this game against Hammond Morton, who's got some pretty good skill position players?
No, I mean, you have film just like Portage had, and, you know, we're going to get better, and our coaches have done a great job teaching them all week, and our goal is to get better week to week, and that's all we have to do this week. And, you know, last week is over. Time to get better, time to move on. You know, Morton's tough. They've got some athletes all over the field, and, you know, we're going to have to help our defense out offensively by moving the chains and playing great special teams.
Let's talk about your new quarterback. I mean, this guy had a great week 1, not as good a week 2, but still, let's talk about this young man and what he brings to the table.
You know, he brings an added level of diversification for us. You know, we got a nice tall quarterback back there that has a decent arm, and you know, we got to get him comfortable within our offense and catch up to what he can do. You know, right now, you know, just talking to him, it's about finding that timing with his receivers, and we haven't had a lot of time to do that. We didn't have all summer, so it's going to take some time, but as long as we keep working hard and try to get better each week, we'll be all right.
I know the number one thing for Lowell football is the running game. If you had to rank it right now, where would that be?
I mean, probably a good C+, you know, B-. That's what we want to do. We want to run the ball, and we got a kid we moved from quarterback to tailback 2 weeks ago, so he's learning and getting better each week. We got 5 new offensive linemen. They're learning, and we just got to keep getting better.
Big game coming up for you on Friday. Morton is a team that would like to move up to the upper echelon, and you're one of those teams that were in the way.
Yeah, I mean, the bullseye's on the back, and they're a big sectional foe. It's going to be a slobber knocker, you know. It's going to be a tough one, and you're not going to see many games like that week 3, and we got to rise to that challenge because Morton's going to bring it.
A couple of ball clubs trying to break out of the 500 mark will go at it on this one today. Both teams have an experience at quarterback. Both teams have solid defenses. Joe and Wayne, who you got?
Well, the Pittsburgh Pirate and the Railcat stuff is
Out the window.
for the winter.
Yeah.
He's got the Lake Station
Lake Station
Edison
went
Eagle
on.
garb on.
Tommy, come on.
All right. How about our game of the week? I think it's definitely going to be a big time tilt. Lowell, kind of a tale of 2 different weeks. Really good at home against Crown Point, solid, fundamental. maybe took the Bulldogs defense a little bit by surprise with the passing game. This week it was on tape. Portage had them scouted. Portage just looked much quicker than them on that film that we saw on the video, which, maybe some of the inexperience on the road showed, as Coach alluded to, after the getting behind against Portage.
Yeah, I really thought that I was surprised that Lowell's defense gave up as many points to Portage. I know Portage has had their success with Lowell, but you're right. Portage was quicker. Warchus, just the quarterback for Portage, did an outstanding job.
Yeah.
It may be a learning thing, but Lowell's quarterback, Stavanovich, did not have the game that he did the week before. Now that's sophomore. He's a sophomore, and he's going to grow and be much better. But boy, Portage dominated that one.
Yep. All righty. How about Morton coming up this week? I think Morton. You're picking Lowell. I did not take Morton in this game, but I kind of like Morton. I mean, Harris Hewlett.
Right.
Wow.
I think that he's another, young quarterback that people did not know about because of Bradford.
Who would have known about him?
And he stepped up very well. So Lowell's going to have to make sure they pressure him. Now Morton does have a good offensive line. They're kind of big, but they're going to need to protect Hewlett. And Lowell's going to have to get after it defensively.
Yeah, I was, really impressed with Morton last week having their way with Lake Central.
Yes.
And if they have a quarterback now that you have to respect throwing the ball downfield, after that initial shock of losing Prather and then not being able to prepare for that and having to throw a quarterback in there in the first quarter of the opener, that week seems like they've adjusted now without having Pradell in there.
Right.
And we'll see how they do against Lowell. I think this is going to be a great game.
Yeah,
It's our game of the week.
At Morton, so that's, that'll even be better.
Wayne likes Lowell, 24-14. All right, now for the rest of the picks, it is time for Wayne's World. The check mark is 4-0.
I know. Believe me. Every Sunday I look at that.
Can you feel the momentum building?
Yes, I can.
All right.
All right, week 3. I like Valpo over
Wayne is
LaPorte.
29-16 at 66%.
We forgot about
Still not over 70. Okay.
Valpo over LaPorte this week, even though it's at LaPorte. I like Portage and where they're playing over
I do too.
Lake Central.
I do too.
And Chesterton, I like Michigan City. I'm sure that practice this week was very, very difficult if Phil Mason had anything to say about it.
This is kind of a barometer game for Chesterton. How well do they stand up? I mean, they came back to beat Hobart, struggled early in that one. Defense played better last week. We'll see how they compete with Michigan City.
And Chris Mullen is doing a nice job at the quarterback for them.
Yes.
For Chesterton.
Just let me say one more time in case you missed it earlier. Maryville has beaten Crown Point 3 years in a row in the regular season. Maryville has lost to Crown Point 3 years in a row in the sectional.
Okay. Is that going to be 4?
I'm trying to drive something home
Okay.
for later in the season.
I think Maryville's going to drive this one home. I like them over Crown Point, even though it's at the Bulldog field.
Us Maryville grads don't like losing to Crown Point.
Prairie is just killing people right now.
Somebody got to slow them down.
Yes.
I don't think so. I don't know if it's going to happen this week.
And Hobart, I think they're going to play much better than they did the last couple of weeks, and they'll beat Griffin.
You like Lowell over Morton? We saw that one.
Right. We've got East Chicago over Munster, and this is a close one, but I like the way that East Chicago can put points on the board. Can Munster stop them? And then Hanover over TF North, because I have no idea. Highland over TF North.
All right.
And
I'm going for Munster. Game, homecoming. I think the Mustangs pulled out a close game here.
And it could. It's at home, and that gives it the crowd behind the team. and it could be very close.
Mark Hoffman, our buddy, Coach Hoffman, used to hate homecoming.
Yes. Yes.
Hopefully the Mustangs are focused on the game.
That's right. Hammond over South Bend Clay, Valley over South Bend Washington, and I like
that.
I like Valley right now.
KB's got to keep the good play going.
That's right. And Gavitt and Whiting, I think Whiting's got this one. You've got Culver Academy. Lake Station, I think, is going to get a victory, and Boone Grove is going to have their way with South Central.
All right. I gotta jump in. You gotta go with River here. Come on.
Really?
It's a rivalry game.
But it's at Lake Station.
River's had an upper hand lately. I'm going to Ingots on the road to win.
This may be a 1-1 right there, a red check marker. All right, next one. We've got Calumet over Wheeler. Mishawaka's too strong here. And I like Clark over Roosevelt.
Oh, I do too. I think Clark is making some progress. They've improved. They got another winnable game before they do the round robin with Lake Station again next week.
Knox over Culver.
You know, Culver's good.
Yes.
They had a great win last week, but Knox is undefeated.
Yeah. And Newton over Judson. Newton comes back after getting shellacked by Rensselaer. Rensselaer, unfortunately, they're playing Western. Western is pretty good.
I'm going for the Jays here, Wade.
All right.
Off to a great start for Coach Lambert. I like the Jays, and you got Western over Rensselaer.
Right.
All right. We'll see you tomorrow night. PFR Scoreboard live 10:30 right here on Lakeshore PBS.
From the perfect flip to the perfect pass, we power Northern Indiana, so you can do what moves you.